For me, the title or God is understanding. When I say that he or she or it is a God, I'm giving this name for a being that's limitless and powerless, and it's something bigger and greater than myself. Therefore, I choose to call it God.
Sure.
Now, but if I were to create, if you like, my own concept of a God, would it itself be a God?
Well, you did. You just gave us your concept of God.
Not necessarily. I'm talking human words to express my experience to other people, so we can together understand the ununderstandable. You know, like it's like computers trying to figure out people. You know, they can only understand what people have programmed them to understand. Beyond that, they really can't do much. And I'm not saying that a computer is the closest relation to people, but just to draw a mental picture.
But whatever you hold as God to you is your concept of God.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you know, there's two kind of issues here. One is you've got some kind of definition of God, which I believe included, you know, limitless, unbounded, you know, transcendent type thing, and that's kind of a generic description of the various super beings that would qualify as gods in a whole bunch of different religions. And you may not get any more specific than that. But you also made a claim about knowing the unknowable.
Yeah.
What makes you think that there's something that's unknowable? And if there is, what makes you think you could know it?
Well, number one, I could never know it, at least on this side, and through humility I've accepted that, because even through science, I remember it used to be we only used 7%, and now it's like 14. I'm not sure, I can't say as a fact. So
you use 100% of your brain. All those other numbers are myths. They're wrong. Use 100% of your brain.
Well, we might use all of it, and I hope we do, but when it comes to understanding something, you know, we only know so much. I know in the years that I've been on this world, I only know my surroundings and the things that I've come to know through, you know, action and things like that. So for me, with this amount of little experience, I cannot explain God, you know, and I need that humility.
I agree.
You know,
the thing is,
calling God.
the thing is, I agree that you and I seem to be in the same position where, based on our experiences and the evidence around, I don't see any evidence that there is a God, and I don't see any reason to presume that there is. You look around and see, hey, there's all kinds of things we don't know, which means there's likely to be some super being that I can't understand. I'm asking why you think that's likely, because I don't.
Right. Well, most of this, the reason I've come to believe in this is because, number one, through personal experience, and number two, through education. As my relationship with the God of my understanding today has come through an educational variety, meaning like many things that I have claimed to know today, most of the things I have been taught by a book, a person, television, like you all today. So everything in life, in my experience, they have the same spiritual principle behind it. You know, like you come out of the womb of your mother, and then you're taught, for example, when I was being born into this world, you know, as my mother was pushing me out, you know, I wasn't giving her the peace sign, thank you, Mom, for pushing me out, you know. I grew up, and through, you know, there was some sort of faith there, and my mother said, I'm your mother, here is my name, and, you know, I started calling her by name, and my father would come, and, you know what I'm saying?
Not really.
You don't
because I don't see anything there that qualifies as faith.
To just show that my understanding of a God came through two things. One was by personal experience.
Okay,
the
what
other
personal
one was
experience?
by education.
Okay.
So just as I learned about addition, multiplication, the alphabets, how to read and write, history, science, and many things in this world, the knowledge that I have of God, of course, I had to accept it through faith.
Okay, stop. Pause for a second, please. There's a 4-second delay, so it's been really hard. You're saying that your belief or acceptance of the claim of God comes from personal experience and education.
For me, it has. I can't speak for the world.
I understand it. I understand it. What personal experience have you had that justifies your belief that God exists?
Okay, well, there are many miracles and many things that I cannot say in this limited time, but...
Give me an
what happened
example of
was-
any one verifiable miracle ever in the entire history of the world.
Sorry?
Give me an example of any one verifiable mystery that's that's ever occurred in the history of the world. If you've got one from personal experience, all the better.
Well, there are very many, and
Okay,
Name and one
should be
should
easy
be
to come up with one then.
Okay, yeah, of course. Well, what I'll tell you my own, because, after God, I only know myself very well. And what happened was, like I said earlier, there was a time in my life where I started asking the why question, why is the sky blue? What's my purpose? Why am I here?
Right.
Because it seemed to me that, and even science I think says this, that visual proof is the weakest proof, and life seemed to be bigger than what I knew, and it created this desire within me to seek more, if there was even a God. So I started looking at different religions open-mindedly, thoroughly, and honestly, without judging anyone based on my past experience.
Okay.
And I started praying, and I started asking God, if you do exist, please reveal yourself to me.
Believed.
Sorry?
And what happened?
And what happened was, through praying that, I started walking out on faith, meaning that what I had learned, I started putting into action, and I started doing things like...
I'm not sensing anything that's remotely like a miracle here. What I'm sensing is you got a sense that hang on, let me finish.
Sure.
You got a sense that you wanted to know what your place was in the universe. You're looking for answers. And so you pray, and you look into a number of religions, and you start putting one into practice, and you feel some change in your life.
Well, it's very detailed, and once again, I can't explain the entire thing that has took years in just this little time, but pretty much to sum it up, yes, that's what happened.
All right.
And
I just got to ask one question,
Sure.
which I think will kind of clear up what my position is. If somebody were to come to you
Yes, sir.
and tell you that they believed that there were purple fairies living in their garden, that were transdimensional and were responsible for making the flowers bloom every morning and putting specific colors on them. Yeah. And you ask them what the reason was that they believed this, and they said what you said, that they were looking around for some explanation of the flowers, and they tried to pray, and then they started putting things in practice, and it became... Would any of that qualify as evidence for those fairies?
Well, I never said that this was 100% evidence, and I didn't...
I'm finding it 0%.
Would it even constitute a miracle?
Okay, well, I mean, I'm just being honest with you all from...
I understand that, and I really do appreciate it.